My name is Jerin Arifa. I am a formerly undocumented activist who co-created the sexual assault policy for the third largest university in the country while I was undocumented. Since becoming a citizen, I continue my activism. I train young people around the country to be intersectional feminists. So I'm talking about 15 and 16-year-olds organizing their high schools and their communities to be intersectional and caring for the entire planet. When I'm not doing activism, I'm an entrepreneur. I help other people with career coaching and business coaching because my goal is to, look, I'm not done with patriarchy. I hate patriarchy and capitalism, but until we topple those things out, I want people of color to have all the money. So, so that's what I do. I help people of color get all the money. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. You all are rock stars for like standing in the rain.
Yes.
And being so amazing. Like, you are giving me so much energy right now. Thank you.
My name is Sala, Cyril. I am born and bred Bed-Stuy, and I am an organizer with the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement, which is an organization that does community organizing for Black folks. And we are focused on self-determination. We have programming. We have a new African Scouts program that I'm one of the Scout leaders. We do work around political prisoners. We do work around community response to police brutality. We do work around emergency preparedness because, you know, they don't come for us the way they come for other folks. So we have to be ready. I'm also the director of an African-centered preschool parent cooperative. And we do political education with the babies. So it's a preschool that was started by families in Bed-Stuy. And so organizing is my life because that's all we have. So
thank you, Sala. Give them some Sala, everybody.
Hola, my name is Karla Rosa Vargas. You can call me Karla or KAR. I am the founding director of La Raza for Liberation, which is an organization that empowers Indigenous, Latinx, and Afro-Latinx activists across social justice movements, whether it's in human justice, animal justice, environmental justice, etc. So, yeah, that's about it.
Right, thank you. So, before we start the questions, I just want everyone to give us a rundown of their pronouns. So how you'd like others to refer to you. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and they, them, theirs. Any of those work for me? Same for me.
She, her, and hers for me.
They, them, theirs.
Thank you very much. So I just have a couple questions because we want to keep this ball rolling so we can get as much for you as possible. Right now, you know, often in the vegan spaces, we have to choose which identity to suppress, right? To be in space and in community with folks. If we're in a mostly white space, we have to fit ourselves into that. If we're in a mostly straight space and we're queer, we have to fit ourselves into that. If we're in a mostly male space and we identify as women, we have to fit ourselves into that. Or if we identify as non-binary, we have to fit ourselves into that. So today we talk about intersections, right? And where we meet in those identities and how this informs our organizing and vice versa. So how do each of you personally define intersectionality and its relation to veganism?
For me, I really like to use the kind of conceptual framework that I got from Julia Feliz, who is the founder of Sanctuary Publishers, who calls it consistent anti-oppression. I think that, you know, as long as we orient ourselves against oppression, that is, to me, what intersectionality is. It's about recognizing that oppression is, we don't just exist in either the oppressor or oppressed category. We exist in both of those identities, and there's so much learning that we all always have to do. I'm still learning, and I hope to always be learning. So I think for me it's about respecting those interconnections and always being open to learning more about those interconnections.
I completely agree with what they said about the interconnectedness and this constant vigilance, because even when I was undocumented, I still had privileges as a straight woman, or straight presenting woman, able-bodied cisgender woman who lived in New York and had a job. So I think it's the constant unlearning of oppression that we dole out to other people, even if we have a lot of marginalized identities. And for me, there can be no feminism or activism without veganism. I'm very spiritual. I identify as a Muslim feminist. And so for me, it's like it feels painful to kill another organism when I don't have to. So for me, it's really like unlearning all the injustices and being vigilant all the time.
Wow, good, yeah. I think for me, intersectionality is part of who we all are. Like it's the you are all of these so multifaceted, and so for me, when I step into a space and I see that there's one part of me that may be being that is in the minority at that time, right? So being a vegan, it's interesting. I don't really run in that many non-vegan spaces. I curate my space to be what I need, right? But when I step into those spaces that are not specific to me, I feel it. The intersectionality does begin to the lack of intersectionality does begin to encroach. I think being able to recognize not only all the multifaceted pieces of myself, but also all of the different parts of each and every one of us that step into the room, and making sure that we honor those pieces, we are caring, and we make sure that we are, like you said, consistently fighting oppression at every moment, right? Just pushing back, in the small ways and the large ways. That's how I see intersectionality. Just a consistent pushback, and a consistent being, like really standing in who you are and being an example. So,
that was all beautiful. Definitely agree with that. And that accountability, right? Holding yourself accountable, holding others accountable for giving space for everyone's identity, everyone's reality. And so a lot of the time too, we're outside of organizing spaces. That are vegan. So do you often come across folks who consider veganism unimportant to social justice work and the liberation of our people? Is there a divide maybe between animal liberation, environmental justice, and social justice work?
Yeah, I think so. I think, I want to say that I think the divide for me is what led me to start La Raza for Liberation, because I was sick of being in spaces that compartmentalized issues. I'm not interested in single issue activism anymore. I don't think it makes any sense for me. That doesn't mean that you can't resonate more deeply with one specific issue or a handful of specific issues. That is completely understandable, because certain parts of ourselves will always be more, kind of take up more space than other parts, and that's not the problem. The problem is when we don't think that the other parts are important anymore, and we don't think that other people's parts of themselves aren't important anymore. And I think, I don't blame people for working in this way, in this single issue, compartmentalization way. I don't blame activists for functioning that way, because we all live in a world where we live in a world of binaries. We're born into it in every sense of the word binary. I mean, quite literally, you know, people are either good or bad. People are either vegan or non-vegan. People are either male or female. People are either gay or straight. You know, it just, the list goes on and on. People are either black or white. You know, it's like we miss so much of the stuff in between. And there's so much complexity there that really needs to be explored, and explored in a very respectful way. Yeah, I would say I definitely agree that there is a divide, but I think with events like this and spaces like this that so many people are starting to create, we're starting to chip away at those divides, chip away at those walls, and start building paths to each other, and start organizing together. So I'm really excited to be a part of all of this.
I've been an activist since childhood, so maybe that gives me a lot of patience with people. So people who are not vegan, people who are not feminists, you know, the list goes on. I usually come from a place of curiosity of why is this person not vegan? Why do they not identify as an activist? And I find that gives better results than, you know, me just being like, what's wrong with you? But yeah, it's hard. The people are so disconnected. As I said, there can be no activism if you don't consider the whole picture. Like, everything is so intricately connected. We can't just think about a single issue because they're going to come for you eventually. So it has to be a coalition.
Right, you know, they say if they come for you in the morning, then they'll come for me at night, right? And I think that it's important to consider consistently the many parts of who we are. And so when you think about veganism, when you think about social activism, when you think about animal liberation, if you are interested in the oppression of someone, if you're thinking about patriarchy, if you're thinking about, you know, if you're interested in continuing those things, then, you know, hopefully from us, you got a fight on your hands, right? Because, and it doesn't, you know, sometimes it's a long struggle, you know. Sometimes it's a slow burn, you know. I definitely, when the thing that's powerful about intersectionality is that you can fit into several different spaces and not feel like you just don't fit. You don't have to feel that way. You know, I don't have to feel that way. I won't say you. I don't have to feel like I just don't fit. I bring all that I am to the table and find the connections where they may be to make sure that, you know, we can come to a similar place that is about liberation, that stays about liberation. So,
thank you for that. So, as organizers, we all create our circles and hold our ranks really tight, right? So even if each of you thinks about your Facebook, you curated that Facebook to look a certain way, right? And so we're protecting ourselves, but there's a lot of folks out here and a lot of folks in general who may be just picking up the struggle, just coming to understanding the issues that are going on in the world, just understanding what it means to work against white supremacist capitalist patriarchy, right? So for those just picking up that struggle, and that may, you know, be feeling crunched under by that, how do you tell them to stay vigilant and motivated and whole in this work, right? Because it is sometimes really soul-crushing work. So
it can be. White supremacy is messed up, right? So as a New African woman that is a mother and is an educator and an activist, I find that the best ways to stay whole are to stay invested in your human connections, to stay invested in the joy that you get from those connections, and continuing to make more of them, continuing to make sure that whatever work you do, even if you're not trying to like be an activist every day, right? I'm an organizer at heart. Like, that's what I do in every moment. But maybe that's not your thing. But make sure that you are doing work that fills your soul, that feeds your soul, and that speaks to something happening to the people around you. Don't live empty, right? And that as someone stepping into the space, as you're stepping into activism, as you're stepping into organizing, you may find that it's a lot of work. It is. It is a lot of work because there's so much to be done. You know, we're under that boot. We got to get out. But, you know, finding the joy, whatever that joy is, I sing, I dance. You know, I work with children. Make me smile. So, you know, finding that joy and pushing it and maybe keeping those connections. That's what I would say.
I would say be gentle and forgiving of yourself. I think one of the reasons people don't work on their issues is because, you know, they look at racism as the men and the KKK hood, as opposed to things that we do every day, because they're so ashamed of the idea that they have something in common with these like monsters. So I think the first step has to be forgiveness of yourself for screwing up, because we all screw up. But I'm learning every day. Even though I come from a family of activists and I've been an activist since childhood, I make mistakes all the time. All the time. So being gentle with yourself about that, forgiving yourself, and then moving on, and then, you know, being better. And I think the people you surround yourself with is so important. Don't surround yourself with people who are just gonna like let you go by doing awful things. Surround yourself with supportive people who also challenge you to be better human beings.
I'm listening and just reminding myself of everything you're saying right now, because I still feel like a baby activist. You know, and I think that, you know, to not repeat anything that's already been said, if you feel like you are doing activism, you're getting into this world of activism and whatever it might be in, and you see something wrong, you see something, you know, you see an oppression, some type of oppression happening, and you're not comfortable, or you see someone else who's not comfortable, and you think that that there could be something better, create that space. That is, you know, I never set out to be the founder or director of an organization. I'm still really coming to terms with accepting this, like, the visibility that leadership position puts you in, that I know it comes with a lot of responsibility. And it can be scary and overwhelming, but I remind myself of why I'm doing it. And it's because I didn't see the spaces that I wanted to be organizing in. So I said, well then, you know, I'm gonna make this space because I know I'm not the only person who feels this way. So talk to those people, organize with those people. And you don't have to have like a resume. You don't have to have, you know, 10 years of experience, even 5 years, even 1 year of experience organizing, doing whatever you're doing. You know, a part of, I think, being an activist and specifically being a leader in activism is allowing yourself to use your work to learn. You know, yes, you're going to make mistakes. Try not to make mistakes that hurt people, obviously, but you can correct those mistakes. You know, you have so much learning you can do so much learning within leadership. And I think I get really frustrated with leadership that isn't willing to learn. I think we probably all do, right? Yes. So don't be that kind of leader. I think part of decolonial work is breaking down all these ideas that we have of how an organization is supposed to look, how leadership is supposed to do things. You know, we can create a completely brand new narrative. We're going to do things differently because our communities are different. Right. And so that actually makes us a lot stronger. So I just want to say, you know, to summarize, don't be afraid to organize simply because you've never done it before. We've all been there.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So that all resonates so deeply with me. You know, I've been doing organizing work for over 25 years now, and this is the truth of it all, right? You know, you have to be willing to mess up. You have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to have people tell you when you mess up. I use the word accountability beforehand. And this is something that is really important in all of these spaces. So at this point now, I'm going to open it up. I know it's raining. And look at all of you though. You just shining through the rain. So if anyone has a question that you have that you'd like to ask, you could come up. You could shout it out. You could, oh, he's got a mic. You got a mic. Okay. Thank you.
Hey, does not activism constantly risk discomfort and at times intentionally or at least knowingly create discomfort in other people as well as oneself?
I think we're all nodding our heads. So the answer is yes, it does.
Yeah. Any other questions from anyone?
Can you speak about some of your self-care practices? I know, you know, doing this work in the community, doing work with young people, it can definitely drain as well as recharge. But I know sometimes it's important to just really focus on practices that rejuvenate not only oneself, but one's family and community. Anybody up there, feel free to just talk a little bit about your self-care practices and how those things have developed as you've developed, you know, as an organizer and or activist.
If you don't mind, I'd like to just give it to each person so we can have this community information.
One of the things that that I found is that self-care has been hard. It's hard to remember to do a good job taking care of yourself with this, which is, I imagine, where that question came from. But fortunately, the community that I have around me is also invested in their self-care and mine as well. So, you know, we have a check and balance. You know, they'll be like, have you been drinking your water today? You know, did you get enough sleep last night? And it's, I think it goes back to what I mentioned before in response to your other question, is the human connection and making sure that you actually, you know, these days with the internet and being online as much as we are, it's hard to really actually maintain a physical presence of human connection. So I'm really like, stay connected, and that will help you. Stay connected to people that will keep you, that will look at you and say, hey, it looks like you haven't been sleeping. You know, hey, did you eat today? Because that's what helps me.
The best advice that I've ever received was taking out detractors from your life. So if there's somebody who makes you feel negative and like run down after you spend time with them, get rid of them. And unfortunately for most of us, that includes at least one family member, which, you know, is very difficult to get rid of. So it's been personally difficult for me, but I limit my time with them because they just like suck the life out of me, and there's too much I have to do. That's really been one of the best things, is like not letting that negative energy around me.
Yeah, I really resonate with that. As a queer person, my family has been a really hard thing to deal with. I would say remind yourself that the giant weight you're carrying around on your shoulders is not yours alone to carry. That's a really hard one for me to remember. I just want to fix everything, right? We want to fix everything right now.
Right.
And you're right, it's about the long haul. And reminding yourself that, you know, the baby victories are big victories, and when you don't have victories, you know, there's going to be days like that. There's going to be days like that where everything is just not going well. And I think, again, you know, go find the people that re-energize you, but just really remind yourself that this is not a battle that you have to fight on your own. you know, there is a certain amount of, I don't know if guilt is the right word. There is a certain amount of, you know, holding ourselves accountable and being willing to learn and make changes. Like, for example, so I just started a tour around the country. I'm living out of my car to visit activists, Indigenous, Latinx, and Afro-Latinx activists around the country, and organize with them directly in their own communities. And I had set out to do this trip zero waste, which, if you don't know what that basically means like no plastic, no trash whatsoever, even if it's like compostable, like it's still kind of like you just don't want to make any trash whatsoever, no waste. And I quickly learned that was way too many changes to be making at one time. Now, I'm still trying to get to zero waste because I know that is where my ethics align. You know, this is similarly, I think, with veganism, right? Some people, they are there intellectually, mentally, but they are on that journey trying to get to vegan, right? So it's the same thing with all these other types of issues, whether it's zero waste. You know, of course you don't want to be harming other people, you know, but you do also have to, you know, if it's something like zero waste that doesn't really, you know, directly harm a human person. I mean, it hurts animals, so that's not really the best thing to say, but, you know, you have to be willing to take those baby steps and not be too hard on yourself. You know, just do it in your own time, but do get there, but, you know, don't feel like you have to rush and change the world overnight.
Thanks for that. So I'll add to that just quickly to say, be intentional when you do anything that around self-care. And one thing I would definitely say is be generous, right? Be generous with other people, but treat yourself exactly like you treat other people. A lot of times we give other people so much of our energy and don't put it back to us. So it's okay to stop and take a shower. It is okay to stop and eat. It is okay to stop and rest. Rest is okay. Sleep is really okay.
And fun.
And fun, yes. Hanging out with friends, whatever, it's fun. So this right here is fun. This has been amazing. I'm so honored and humbled to be in community with all of you. You're all amazing people, amazing spirits. The energy up here is live, y'all. I'm like goosebumps. I can feel it from you. I just love that we're all here together. Thank you so much for braving the rain. Thank you for being with us here in space. Thank you.